In this video, we are going to focus on participles. A participle is an adjective which is formed from a verb, meaning that it describes something as doing an action. Take the sentence, "the sad boy," for example. The word sad is an adjective because it describes a noun. Now, compare it to the sentence, "the crying boy." The word crying is also an adjective as it describes a noun. However, as it comes from the verb cry, you can see that it's actually a participle. Now that you understand what a participle is, let me introduce you to the different forms a participle can take. First up is the PAP, short for the present active participle. It conveys an action happening at the same time as the main verb. So, when translating a PAP, often just adding an ing after the verb is fine. The Latin for PAP is also fairly easy to remember. It is formed from the present tense of a verb plus either ns or nt. Then lastly, the third declension noun endings are put on the end. Now, let's translate a sentence as an exercise. Ancilla cantas lacrimare copiet. As cantans has an ns in it, and no ending following, we can tell that it is the participle, which describes a nominative, and therefore not the main verb of the sentence. So, the translation is, the saying slave girl began crying. Here are some things to know about the PAP. First, in dictionaries, PAPs are listed in their nominative singular form, followed by their genitive singular, e.g., wedens, wedentis. As the genitive ensures that we know the right stem change, because participles are also adjective. The participles must also agree with the noun it describes in case, number, and gender. This is true for all participles. Another form participles can appear in is the perfect passive participle, aka the PPP. A PPP conveys a passive action which happened at a time before that of the main verb. It can be translated as having been verbed or simply verbed. There's no way to form the PPP because the PPP will be listed as the fourth principal part. The only way to know it is to look up in a dictionary. But the good news is, as the PPP is part adjective, it declines like a 2-1-2 adjective. Now, here are some things to know about the PPP. The PPP is often accompanied by the preposition ab, plus a noun in the ablative case. This use of the ablative is called the ablative of agent. The last form of the participle that we're going to look at is the perfect active participle. Like the PPP, the perfect active participle both describes an action in the past, but instead of translating it into having been verbed, the perfect active participle is in the active tense and therefore gets rid of the been. Another similarity with the PPP is that it also declines like a 2-1-2 adjective. Now, that raises an issue. If the perfect active participle looks and declines exactly like a PPP, how can we tell them apart? Well, the only way to do that is to memorize them. Thankfully, they are rare. Only 431 of them. Now, here are the most common ones. Just to recap, we've met 3 types of participles today: the PAP, PPP, and the perfect active participle. The PAP has a distinguishable NS or NT in the middle, declines like a third declension adjective, and it translates as verb-ing. The PPP and the perfect active participle both decline like a 2-1-2 adjective. The PPP translates as having been verbed, whilst the perfect active participle translates as having been verbed.